Hi everybody, my name is Emma McNaughton and today I'm going to be showing you how to create and publish your very own children's book by using Amazon and creating a paperback version of your children's book and how to do that. And this is my very first YouTube video, so let's get started. All right everybody, so the first thing I want to talk about is why I'm making this YouTube video. I'm making this YouTube video because I went through the whole process of creating a book and I felt that there was just so many videos out there, but they didn't just explain it easily and thoroughly and just simply. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you all the steps on how to create and publish your children's book through Amazon. It's very easy and it's pretty simple. And you'll be able to just go through everything that I say. And I'm also going to be linking some other YouTube videos that I think are the ones that actually are helpful in this whole process. So before I talk so much, let's just get into it and just start within our steps of how to create a children's book. Okay, so step one is you have to write your children's book. You have to find an idea. You really want to think about something. Do you want to teach a lesson? Do you want to talk about friendship? Do you want to teach how important the environment is? There's so many, or about sharing. There's so many different ideas that you can go for while writing a children's book. And you also, at this point, want to think about what age group you want to be writing for, and how many pages you even want your book as well. I really like fantasy. Mine is How to Meet a Fairy, a step-by-step guide. I think it's really cute. I have little fairies, and I think that for me, it was more like fantasy was my go-to. So yeah, so the first thing you're gonna do is just write that story down. Okay, so step two is you're gonna find an editor. And basically, you're going to tell the editor what age group you are targeting, and they'll help you make sure your wording's correct, and they'll just make sure the grammar's right, sentence structure is good. And I use a freelancing website. I use Fiverr. You can use any freelancing website. And my editor cost me about $20, so they're not too expensive. So now we are on to step three. Step three, I would think, is probably the funnest part of creating your book because you really get to put in your creativity and your detail into, what you want your book to look like and how you want it to be represented. I mean, honestly, creating your book's fun too, but this one is really fun. So you're going to lay out your book. So this is where you want to know, okay, how many pages? You want to know, where do I want my illustration? Where do I want my writing? And also on the illustration pages, you need to be detailed. Like, I want the illustration to look like this. I want the main character to have their hands up, to be smiling, to be frowning. I want them to be wearing this. I want it background to look like this. This is the part where you're really gonna bring your story into life using what you see in your head. So let me give you an example of my book. I'll just go to the first page. Let me go to the first page. Okay, so here in my story, I have writing on one side and then my illustration on the other side. And that's what this is how I made this is what was part of my layout when I was laying it out before sending it to an illustrator. I knew I wanted my writing on one side and I knew I wanted my illustration on the other side. And see how she has her hands up? I wrote that as a description for my illustration. So basically, it's kind of like your rough draft of your whole book itself. What I did is I even had the title and the cover. I had it all ideated in my head, and I got a piece of paper and I wrote boxes and I wrote, okay, writing's going to be here. The flowers are going to be here where the writing is. I put, this is where the illustration is. So you're going to go and basically put every single detail you can into this part on how you want your book to look. Hi, I had to cut in this YouTube video because for the book layout, I forgot to mention, that is also when you are going to be wanting to know the margins. So my book, if you guys are curious, is an 8.5 across. And that's another thing you're going to want to know how to do during the layout portion of creating your book. So for step four, that is when you are getting your illustrator. Again, I use Fiverr, the freelancing website, to find my illustrator. And that's when you are going to have the descriptions that you send the illustrator. This is where I want my writing. This is where I want everything you basically did for the layout in step 3 is what you're sending to your illustrator and in details so that they can create the book and so that the illustrator can really, get the story that you're trying to be told. Now, within this part of the book, you are going to have to get the, this is kind of more into step 5, but not yet, because I'll actually make a different part for step 5. But the copyright symbol, the C with the circle, and then the year in your first and last name, all rights reserved, has to be on the book when you are going to copyright the book. Okay? So you need to do that within the illustration part of the getting the illustrator part of the process. Okay, so this isn't really a step, but it's kind of between step 4 and 5. And it's really important, and no other YouTube video mentions this, and I don't know why no one else mentions this, but they don't, and I had to figure this out on my own. When you are uploading your book onto Amazon, Amazon will add an extra white page, which is basically this part of the book, So I actually had another page here and it ruined the whole layout of my book and my story because it's like, I have my book set out. So when you're talking to your illustrator, since Amazon is adding a white page, they need to, like, right when the story begins, so after the title page, Amazon will add this white page. You need to tell the illustrator to add a second white page and then start your story. So I didn't know that when I made it, and I had to actually get rid of a couple pages to make the story work. Okay, so that brings us to step 5, which is copywriting. Now, I'm teaching you how to copyright and putting this into one of the steps because it's important to copyright. If you do not copyright, it goes in the public domain, and that means anything in the public domain can be used whenever. So it's very important to copyright. Now, I learned about copywriting through a YouTube video that I'm going to be linking below. And in that video, that guy explains the different types of copyright. One of them is like when you're actually writing it, it's copyright. The next one is the C symbol. And then he explains and shows you how to register your work and to copyright it on copyright.gov, which is the government's website to copyright. And it cost me about $65 when I copyrighted my book. So I'm just going to link his YouTube video below and you can follow that. And he is amazing and he's so detailed. And he was the reason I was able to copyright this book. Step 6. So you're going to want to find a book formatter on Fiverr, and the book formatter will take the illustrator's work and help you so that you can actually upload it on kdp.amazon correctly, efficiently, and quickly. And book formatters can go from like $40 to, or even $15 to like $100, depending on who you use. And you just got to find a book formatter for paperback, ebook, if that's what you want to do, whichever. All right, so that brings us to step 7, which is uploading your book onto kdp.amazon. And I'm also linking another YouTube video if you want to go click that. And this woman will explain every single thing on how to upload the video on Amazon, how to upload it and to create it into a book, because Amazon takes a couple days to approve the book and everything. And that's also where you can get your ISBN. You can see how much royalty you would get when you like create a price for your book and things like that. So there's a lot that kind of goes into that, but you just need to make sure you have a kdp.amazon account, and then the book that you have like on your computer copy, like the copy of it on your computer, that video, that YouTube video that I'm linking below is going to help you go through that whole process to upload it. And that's it. That is it, you guys. That is all you need to know. I just explained it very simply to you guys, and I also just put the YouTube videos that helped me personally. And if you just follow these steps, I mean, you have to go out and do it yourself. You got to go find your own editor, your own illustrator, your own book formatter. But at the end of the day, these are kind of all the steps you got to take to get it right. And before we go, I do want to say cost. A lot of people want to know, how much does it cost to create a book? So here's the thing. I would say the editor, the copyright, when you pay for the copyright, and the book formatter for when you publish it on through Amazon would be about, I would say $150 altogether, those three, or less. But I'm trying to go more up price so I can show you what to expect more or less. And the illustrator, some illustrators, it depends on what type of illustration, and all illustrators have different price ranges. So I would expect if you're doing like a 22 page, 26 page book, $400 to even $3,000 around there, depending on what illustrator, depending on how popular the illustrator is, and things like that. So I would say, on average, if you're just trying to create a children's book, keep it more on the low level of pricing, I would expect you to pay at least $800 to create a book. Obviously, it can go up, obviously, it can be less, it just depends. For me, it was about $600 to create my book, with the illustrator, the editor, and copyright, and all that. But it honestly varies. It depends on who you find and what you do. All right, you guys, that is the end of my video. I hope this is helpful for you guys. I just wanted to create a YouTube video that had all the steps. I thought that the other YouTube videos that I'm linking below were the most helpful for me during my process, because I really had to do this whole process by myself, and I did it through watching YouTube videos and through my own research and working and seeing what worked and what didn't. So good luck to you if you're creating a children's book, and you got this. Thank you for watching.